Hello, welcome. My name is Aishat Akinyemi. In this video, we're going to look at the information technology solution value chain. And the aim of this video is to help you understand the different processes that's involved when that is involved in creating an information technology solution, especially software solutions, and also for you to know which part of the value chain, which part of the process you can come in, which skills are required in each phase of the solution development process. So this video is aimed at people that are trying to understand the different fields or career opportunities in information technology. So let's get started. So looking at it, we have various steps in the IT solution value chain, and you should know that these are not really linear. The steps are not necessarily linear, and a lot of times, several organizations have, because there are different approaches or methodologies towards building IT solutions. A lot of times, several organizations are not doing this linearly, and there has been the trend is toward these days. The trend is not to do solution development linearly. So it's not linear. It's just this linear approach, or the way I represented it visually, is just visual. It's not necessarily that way theoretically in real life, practically. So okay, so the first process, or the first step in building any IT solution, is to identify the problem. So what is the problem? Then after identifying the problem, usually organizations look at the business. If it's an organization that's already existing, they look at what's the business case for the solution, for the problem. How urgent is this problem? How urgent do they need to solve the problem? And also, what advantage, what are the benefits of solving the problem? So this is what is usually involved in business analysis. They also need to analyze what are our business processes and how can we improve this. We're going to look at it more in the next pages. So identify solutions. The business analysis process is also linked to the identifying solutions process. So after you've analyzed the problem, after you've analyzed the business of the organization, or the business potential of creating a product, then you identify the solutions. So when you identify the solutions is then implemented. You decide on which solution to implement. You identify solutions, decide on which solutions to implement, considering various factors. Then the solution gets implemented. People start using the solution. There is need for user support to ensure that the solution runs effectively and it's always running without much issues. Then there's also the business development and improvement part. So improving the solution, the software solution, and also ensuring that there is creating a business case for the for the for the product. So if it's a software product, there is need for people in marketing, people in finance, and various teams to come together to ensure that the solution is viable in terms of bringing in profit, in terms of helping the organization get its word into the market, and several other things. We're going to look at them with more depth as we go through the slides. So let me go to the next page. So first, I would like you to understand that there are different types of organizations. They are not always clear cut, as even the IT. So I'm going to start with the IT product organizations. So the IT product organizations are organizations that create software. That's all they do. They are like the Microsoft. You can think of Canva. You can think of Microsoft. Microsoft creates software that we use on our PCs, on different devices, on your phones. They buy software. So an organization like Microsoft is mainly a software, digital. They have digital products. Their products are digital and they are software. Sometimes you can buy it and pay once. Sometimes it's a subscription based business model, but their product is software. Apple's products are IT products, not necessarily only software products. Even Microsoft sells computers, so it's not clear cut, but they sell IT and digital products. Those companies. And there is Canva. Canva is mainly a software as a service company, which means you everything they produce so far so good has been software, and and you can purchase the software. That's the service they produce. They don't sell feasible products, but they only sell digital products. Software as a service is just another name for digital product, I guess. Yeah, that's not real life, that are not physical. You get it over the internet. So as I said, these are IT product organizations, but the thing is, even the IT product organizations use so an IT product organization like Apple might be using some Apple designers. There might be some designers in Apple, maybe they're graphic designer that's using Adobe products or even Canva. So these organizations are not self-reliant. It's not like they don't use products from other organizations. So sometimes they produce most of the time. So they produce digital products, but they also subscribe to digital products from other companies. They also buy IT products from other organizations. So let's now look at the organizations that use IT for their process improvement. Think of Ford, think of Toyota, think of car manufacturers, think of your school, your university. Their main business is not, their main product, their main service is not digital products. What they do, if it's a university, the focus of the university is to teach students. The focus of Ford or Toyota is to create cars. But these organizations, the focus of Boeing, I don't know if that's the pronunciation of Boeing, is to create aircraft. But these organizations use information technology to either improve their products or improve their process, or do both at the same time. Like cars now have it's not like it's a new thing. Cars have control systems. Cars have embedded devices in them. They are electronic vehicles, completely self-driving. Maybe self-driving vehicles, I wouldn't say completely, but they are self-driving cars. So and apart from putting digital product as part of their other products, they also use information technology to improve their own process for email communications, for CRM systems. Most organizations now have an IT. Even your small business, your SME, if you have a small business, you're probably advertising on WhatsApp. You're probably using Canva for your development. So there is a form of you using. There's a reality that's the reality. Everybody uses information technology. Okay, so now you've understood the different types of organizations, and a lot of organizations are in between. A lot of organizations are on this side. So most organizations, don't let me say most, a lot of organizations use information technology for improving their processes, and they also sometimes they decide to build this product in-house. Sometimes they decide to because there is proprietary software. Many organizations have their own IT department, and in the IT department, usually when they decide to build something, they may find out that instead of them building, after doing the business analysis, they may see that, okay, instead of us to build this solution from scratch, there is something already in the market produced by organizations like Microsoft, Salesforce, that we can buy, subscribe to, and use. You wouldn't start some organizations don't start creating their own design software. Most of the time, they know that there is a design software already in the market that they can purchase. Meanwhile, a hospital may decide that they want to build their own uh, hospital information software. Just maybe they've seen that there's going to be some edge, it's going to give them edge. A company like Boeing would most likely have its own systems development unit in house, because it is very, very crucial. It's very crucial. It's a system that must have zero error rates. It's an aircraft system. So depending on the different reasons for using different IT products, or depending on the different solutions those products are trying to provide, then organizations may decide to either build in-house to have a proprietary software, or they may go for off-the-shelf software solutions. So these are the backgrounds. Let's go into the meat of the matter. So okay. So the first phase, or the first stage, is the problem definition. This is where people would say, okay, these are the problems that we've identified. So we mentioned that there are two different organizations. Sometimes you yourself can say, oh, I noticed that when I'm doing this, or maybe in you've heard people saying there's problems when they want to place orders. Maybe there is a delivery problem. Everybody complains about deliveries and finding logistics companies. You may say, okay, I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to create a place where different logistics companies can say they have riders free at a particular time, and it's going to make it easier for vendors or sellers to deliver their products or their services faster. So you might identify a solution as an entrepreneur. Then that means you take part in the problem definition phase. So founders, people that found organizations or startups, people that do research, product managers, consultants, maybe a company calls people that they are losing, maybe their products get their agricultural products spoil fast. So they can call in consultants to help them identify what is the bottleneck, what is the problem, where the problem is coming from. They can call in analysts. Maybe an organization is losing money, maybe a retail company like ShopRite. They've noticed that there is a lot of loss in revenue due to theft. They can call in analysts to help them. It could also there could also be some issues found during auditing. Could be IT auditors, information technology auditors, identifying that there is a loophole in the system, maybe an accounting system. So these are the different people that are involved in problem definition. So this has to do with identifying what the problem is and clearly defining what the actual issue is, so that the organization or the company would use the information gotten from this process to now move into the next phase, which is identifying solutions. Sorry. So move into the next stage, which is business analysis. So I skipped the business analysis, but we're coming back. We're back now. Okay. So business analysis has to do with an organization. Okay. So after defining a problem, usually these people analyze the problem furthermore. So they analyze the problem further. If it's a company like Microsoft, they identified, or let me use our first example. So a company like if an entrepreneur like yourself, you decide, oh, we want to solve this logistics problem to make it more efficient. So you analyze the business. There is need for business analysts, and the business analysis is a little bit two-way. There is this business analysis of you identifying the business case for whatever problem that is identified. So is it a problem that's already developed? Have they already developed solution that is efficient? Or even if there is a solution, what are the inadequacies of that solution? What are the weaknesses that you can focus on to improve? Business analysis also has to do with you identifying what the customers are, what the market value is, what's the market volume, different phases, different things that have to do with analyzing the business space, what's the like what price, what could be the revenue generation, the different possibilities, making a business case for the problem. If it's an already existing organization like ShopRite, they would probably say, okay, let's look at the managers. The managers, you can even probably, I mentioned consultants. There is need for people that are involved with data analysis. People that do data analysis could also be brought in. Okay, so analyze the data. If we should we develop a, so this, there is a theft problem. Okay, what is the quantity of the theft problem? Is there a need? Is the cost, does the benefit of finding a solution outweigh the costs of losing things? So there is need for cost benefit analysis. The product managers are involved in this. The consultants are involved. If it's an IT issue, that maybe there is a, so sometimes you have a legacy system in a company. Maybe they are using, it's a hospital that is using a very slow hospital information system. There's going to be a CIO in this business analysis. So what I'm trying to say is, depending on what the problem is, there are different types of people that come into play during business analysis. Depending on the type of problem, depending on the type of company, if it's a startup, if it's an already existing organization, depending on the value of IT in that organization. Is IT used for business process improvement? Is IT the major product of the organization? So this all affects, or this factors all come into play when people decide, okay, these are the people that we need to include in this business analysis phase. And if you're someone that enjoys solving problems, you're someone that enjoys researching, you're someone that enjoys coming up with new ideas, brainstorming, these are the skills that are essential in the problem definition and business analysis phase. So the next one is identifying solutions. The same skills that I mentioned earlier are also important in identifying solutions. And a lot of times, this three process, or this three process, I'll call them processes. These three processes, the identifying or defining the problem, analyzing the business analysis, making a case for the solution or for the problem, making a case for the problem, making a case for the business idea, making a case for the product idea, and identifying solutions most of the time, they might not really be clear cut. They bleed into each other. And a lot of the time you would see that, so far so good, you've seen that even the roles, even the skills, even the professions that I've mentioned, almost you see them in the three places. So identifying the solutions after the problem has been analyzed, after the business has been analyzed, maybe the business case or even the business organization has been analyzed, then I'm sure the people involved would be coming up with list of possible solutions, list of possible approaches to solving the problem. And after making the list, then they would identify, okay, which solutions they should go for. So people involved in this are business analysts. What's the cost of each solution? What is the feasibility? Project and product managers, what is the feasibility of each solution? So what the product and project managers do, I've talked about what business analysts do. Sometimes some people call them IT analysts. Most of the time, if they say IT analyst, it could also be someone that analyzes different solutions in terms of information technology solutions. So they analyze the business need, the problem, the software requirements, or let's say, the problem requirement, the requirement statement. They come up with requirement statement. I'm talking about IT analysts now. They usually come up with requirement statements, and also maybe the benefits and the risks and the feasibility of each solution when they come up with possible solutions. So there is also the CIOs. If it's and the CIO is Chief Information Officer. I should have written that out. Please, I'm sorry. So this is an executive role, a managerial role that's mostly held by people in information technology. So what they do is they usually manage the IT system used by used by companies, either a digital, even digital, as I mentioned, digital IT digital companies. They also have need for using systems that they use to ensure that they work effectively. So because they are so imagine I'm going to give you an example. An organization like Microsoft, we're going to look at Apple's careers page to further understand what I'm talking about. But an organization like Microsoft also has IT manager roles, CIO roles, different roles that ensure that the IT system or IT infrastructure of a company runs smoothly, that their desktops are working, that they are secure, that there is no lag, that everything runs smoothly, that their data centers where they store their data are running smoothly, that there is a efficient use of money also. So that's what the CIO is involved with. So if there is a legacy system that is slow, the CIO is also involved in identifying the solutions. It probably is the one that's going to make a case for the need to develop a new solution. It talks with the other executives, other company executives. And there is project and product manager. A project manager is a project manager. He manages the project. He communicates with the stakeholders, communicates with the developers, the designers who are involved in building the product, and also the people that are going to use the product. Ensures that there is buy-in for the products from the users. So it's like a liaison manager. It has different roles. It also ensures that there is cost management, there is risk management, there is operations management. He has his hand in everywhere to ensure that the product or the project from start to finish runs smoothly. And also probably is also the one that actually is also one of the people that need to ensure that the organization needs to develop the product. Is it even needed, or should they just buy something off the shelf, or maybe there's even no business case for the problem? So consultants, sometimes organizations call in consulting companies like KPMG, Accenture, different companies like Deloitte, to help them identify solutions. Even probably they also call them to help them build the solutions sometimes. So UX researchers, user experience researchers are also involved in identifying the solutions. Even if they are not the ones that identify the solutions, it is essential that they are involved in this stage so that they know what solutions they are building, and also they might even advise the company on this is not the right solution, the solution has these issues. So they do research to ensure that the user's experience in using the solution is going to be smooth. So let's go to the next phase. So now that the solution has been identified, the next step is to implement the solution. And usually there is a requirements analyst, an IT analyst that identifies the requirements. So there may be need for them to speak with the users, maybe potential customers. If it's a startup, they may need to speak with the potential customers. If it's an already existing organization, like the hospital we mentioned that has a slow legacy system, a slow system that they're already using to key in their patient information, the analyst may need to talk with the people that use the system, with the nurses, with the doctors, even with the patients. So there is need for that analysis to identify. So you've decided to go for a solution, you need to analyze and identify the requirements. So these are the boxes that the solution must tick. So if you're someone that enjoys doing that. You enjoy speaking with people. You enjoy um, you enjoy asking what the issues are. You enjoy documenting that. You enjoy, and it's something you like, identifying solutions. You like analyzing long conversations to bring out the essential content, listing out the actual things. You know how to ask the right questions, then you should probably consider being an IT analyst. And it also has to do UI researchers and designers, UI UX. So user interface designers are people that design the what the software is going to look like. That the people that are involved, as well as the user experience UX, as user experience designers, they also design how the software is going to be used. So they help you create the right flow in the product. So these are the people. So if you've identified the requirements and all of these people work together, it's not like, okay, now the analyst has analyzed, then the UI UX designer comes into place. No, everybody works together. So the list doesn't mean that, and sometimes it's not everyone on the list that is involved in that particular process, depending on the type of organization, the type of product. That's what determines who is involved, and also this the team, the makeup of the team, because sadly there are a lot of companies that don't have some of these essential roles. So the project manager, we already talked about him. The product manager is someone involved in ensuring that the IT product, from start to finish, is created smoothly. And he also has the responsibility of communicating with the team, if it's a team that is developing or implementing the solution. Is the one that communicates with the team, saying, okay, these are what we should prioritize. Sometimes it's a project manager, sometimes it's a product manager, sometimes they bleed into each other, sometimes it's one person doing both, sometimes it's just nomenclature, naming. So but in big organizations like Microsoft, they are well alienated, so to speak. So it could be a product. There are some roles that it's just product roles. They only have there's some organizations that they only have product managers. Some organizations have both. So, and what you've mostly in product companies, IT product companies, these days they mostly have product managers, while organizations like hospitals, the organizations using IT to improve their processes, have project manager. And why is that important? Project manager most of the time needs to have that that stakeholder interaction. So you need to justify the cost to the finance department. You need to justify why the project, if there is a delays in the project, they need to communicate with different people in the organization. So sometimes there are differences. So we have the developer, the programmer, the engineer, whatever it's called in an organization. Some people have written about the differences. You may look into that if you're interested. But these are people that write the code. They don't just write the code. They design. They do their own systems design. They do the architectural design. They do the discussions, the meetings, the design, the problem, the algorithm, and implement it like with code. So that's what is involved in the work of a developer. Then we have the infrastructure engineers. Okay, so sometimes this roles, the developer could also be the infrastructure engineer, the person deploying the system. So usually when you create your software, you've created it, then you deploy or you release it for people to use. After releasing your software for people to use, there is need for you to manage the database. There is need for you to manage the network interaction. So as people use it more, there may be need for you to increase the infrastructure, say the network, the bandwidth, or the computers, the servers that are hosting your your code, your software. So there is as especially in larger organizations, there are clearly defined rules of people that do this, people that manage, if it's a cloud, if it's an organization, as in most cases these days, that's hosting their IT, their software on the cloud. There may be someone that is, or there may be a team of people that are involved with ensuring that the organization's processes run smoothly, the hosting of the software is reliable. You hear roles like software site reliability engineer, DevOps engineer, and someone that ensures that as the development team is releasing new updates, everything is everything is still running smoothly, ensuring that the development and the operations are intertwined together. So there are different roles involved with that. And there are some people that the IT infrastructure engineers also include the cloud security engineers, cloud architects, different cloud specialists, network engineers, etc. So we also have the quality assurance people, quality assurance engineers, quality assurance programmers, quality testers. These are people that ensure that the software product meets the standard. So they test, they use the software, they find, they ensure that it's maybe if you've developed your software, they also check to ensure that it's designed specifically, sorry, it's implemented to meet the UI design. So whatever the UI person has designed, it meets the need or the specification, requirement specification. So we also have the cyber security specialists, people that ensure that the information technology infrastructure is secure, from the development to the implementation to the deployment to the development setup to the different users. So different users of the system, to ensure that only the people that need to have access to particular systems in the organization have access to it. So cybersecurity specialists are also involved in during the implementation and the use of the solutions. Okay. And they safeguard the company from cyber attacks, prevent vulnerabilities from being exploited. So let's look at the user support. So if an organization has started releasing its product or they've released the product, there is the user support person. One thing I missed in the last implement solution phase, the project manager and the product manager are often also involved with prioritizing the different features. So they say, okay, these are the things we need to implement before, maybe these are the things we need to implement before we release the first version of our products. Then even after implementing or releasing the first the product, they also say, okay, these are the things the team should work on next. If a QA tester finds, I'm going to talk more about that, but they are also involved in prioritizing features for the teams to work on. For the UI UX designer, the developer, the testers, they prioritize what each person should work on depending on several factors. Maybe the organizational need, maybe the market conditions, maybe a competitor quickly released a product before your own release date. Maybe they announced another release date and released the product. It's the job of the product or project manager to prioritize, okay, let's do this, let's release this. Okay, maybe there is pressure from outside. Okay, you need to release this, you need to release this. It's also the job of these two people to say, no, let's hold on. We need to release we need to wait to implement our features. They also ensure that there is lack of scope creep. Maybe they're saying add this feature, add that feature. They would also be the one to say, okay, no, the developers have already been told to do this. They can't do that. So they have a lot of roles: managing the stakeholders, managing the feature development, and managing the release of the product. So yeah, they manage a lot of things. So the user support. So now our users have started using the software. So for each role, let me see what I've not mentioned. I'm sorry for going back several times. So if you're someone that enjoys designing things, you're someone that enjoys speaking with users, you're someone that's empathetic, you're someone that enjoys imagining visual, you're a visual person, you like art, you like colors, you understand color theory, then you could consider you can consider a career in UI UX design. Project manager, product manager, you need to be able to prioritize, you need to have time management skills, you need to be able to have leadership qualities and skills, you need to be persuasive, know how to negotiate, you need to be able to prioritize, work well under pressure. Product manager, product manager, you need to be able to do research, market research, ensure that you keep your tabs on possible various factors that come into play. Developer, programmer, or engineers, you like solving problems, you're good at breaking down things, breaking down big problems into smaller problems. You have tenacity, then you can consider a career in development, software development. And IT infrastructure engineers, you're good with abstract things, solving issues, troubleshooting, and the same skills that are necessary for development and engineering are also come into play with an IT infrastructure engineer. So QA testing. Sometimes a QA tester needs to know how to develop, how to write code. Sometimes you just need to be able to be computer savvy. So these roles bleed into each other. Cybersecurity specialist. Sometimes they write code as well. You like hacking or finding vulnerabilities. You like looking for vulnerabilities before a bad person, a malicious actor, exploits them. You like looking for gotchas and different types of things. So you're someone that likes solving problem as well. It's all about, we said solution. Everybody's solving a problem. Okay. So the next is the user support. That's the next thing on the face. So after writing, even an engineer and everybody that I mentioned earlier needs to be good with documentation. You need to be able to write. So if you write software, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to write documentation, explaining to others what you're doing. You need to be able to write documentations explaining to your fellow programmers how they can use your software. You need to write clean code. Those are the things that are essential. So technical writer, sometimes after especially with organizations that create software that's used by other people, that's used by other technical people especially, there's need for technical writing. So, and even when you create products that are used by end users, like people that are not involved in tech, you also need to be able to write manuals and guides. So there's need for technical writers that write instructions depending on whatever. It could be very technical instructions, it could be non-technical instructions depending on who the user of the system is. And if the users of the system are developers or people that are involved with development, there are also developer relations role. Like Microsoft creates Visual Studio. Visual Studio is a software development tool that is used by developers. Then that means that Microsoft needs DevRel roles, people that explain these tools to developers, make videos, and sometimes even make videos for the end users, how to use Teams. This is how you use your Visual Studio Code. This is how to program in C#. This is how to use these things. This is how to develop. This is how to use this tool. So DevRel, technical writing, sometimes they come together, bleed into each other. Then we also have customer support analysts. These are people that are involved with providing support for the end users. It could be, if it's a software as a service like Canva, Then you can usually you would say, okay, chat with our end user support, send us a chat. If you're using Bundle, if you're using Binance, if you're using if you're using if you're using applications, whatever applications you're using, whatever products, even if it's an organization like that is just using, let me look for a good example. A university has a portal for its students to use. If these students have issues, they need to have a team. The organization needs to have a team for people that have issues with its software to communicate or complain to. So these are the customer support persons. We also have technical support engineer. So if the customer support team solves the problems, they might be able to advise people on simple issues, or whatever issues that they would be able to advise people on. And there are other times, or even complex, it's not necessarily simple, it could be complex, but there are some issues that not just advice. There is need for maybe updating a table on the database, maybe for the team to implement corrections in a feature, maybe there is a bug. Then we have technical support engineers. And technical support engineers, sometimes they need to know how to code, depending on the type of organization and how the organizations has delineated the roles, how the organizations have differentiated the roles. That determines what is done by the technical support engineers. So the good thing is you can search for all of these roles, the ones that sound like something you like, then read through the job descriptions. You can look at the entry level. So because if you look at the senior level descriptions, you're really like, oh my god, I won't be able to do these things. But if you look at the entry level position, that gives you an idea of what is needed to get started, what skills are needed to get started in this role. So the next thing we're going to look at is the business development. So after you've done all of this, you need to make a case for your product. You need to make a case for whatever it is, for people to use it. You need to advertise it, and you need marketing. You need to make sales. You need people to sell, to call people, make direct phone calls, send emails. Data specialists, you need people to collect data on your software use, collect data on different at different points. Some organizations like ShopRite, they may collect data. Okay, these are the people that are entering into our company. I remember in school we had a business case. We had an analysis that involved a company, a retailing company, fast-moving consumer good company like ShopRite. Let's use ShopRite as an example. So they needed to analyze maybe how many people are coming in, how many people are buying things. So there's data analysis. And remember that we mentioned, I don't know if it's written in the slide, but I mentioned that there is need for data specialists also when identifying problems, when identifying problems, when defining problems, when identifying solutions, and when making business cases. So data specialists, finance, people that create a story for your brand, designer, people that design graphics and all of that, legal and compliance specialists, business executives, human resource, people that are involved in ensuring learning and development of the work force in an organization. So what I'm trying to let you know with this business development place is that not all, except for data specialists, you would see that most of these are not information technology roles, so to speak. You don't have to do anything related to IT at the university or in school to be able to fill this role. Sometimes you don't even need to go to the university to fill a lot of the roles we've talked about. So I'm trying to let you know that not all roles in IT organizations are IT roles. Yeah, IT organizations are like other organizations. They need to market their products, they need to sell, they need to analyze the data, they need to finance, analyze their books, their ledgers, create designs, graphic designs, create a brand story, brand their products. They need legal and compliance specialists. different business executives, operations manager, people manager, HR manager, HR operations person, different roles. Excuse me. So software improvement. So after you've released your software, they don't just forget about it. There's a need for continuous improvement, and most of the roles already mentioned are still the roles that are involved in this. So there is nothing new here. So there's also IT services. IT services are people involved in ensuring the smooth running of the IT resources of or IT infrastructure of any organization. What do I mean by IT infrastructure? The computer system, the network systems, the servers, the Wi-Fi, whatever, the routers, the Wi-Fi routers, whatever the organization is using. So let's look at ShopRite. At ShopRite stores, they have computers. Hospitals have computers. They have networks. They might have a data center, a server room. They may have a cloud data infrastructure they subscribe to. They might have databases. It's not they might have. They would have databases that they upload their data to, that they may need to generate reports from. So these are the different roles that are involved in ensuring that whatever IT products an organization has developed or has purchased or is subscribed to run smoothly. So these are the different roles involved. And I've talked about most of this except database admin. I've talked about cloud. I think I've talked about every other thing except database admin. And database admin, they work, it's like people involved with data as well. So ensure smooth running of the database systems. It could be sometimes it's linked to cloud specialists. A lot of these things are not clear cut. Organizations that often have cloud roles would put database admin under cloud roles. Server admin would be non-existent because they are managing their cloud-based servers. So yeah. So now that we've talked about the different roles for a long time, for you to decide where you fit in, you need to look at what do you love doing. Then you also need to look at what you're good at currently or what you need to improve on. You've heard the different skills that have mentioned. So where we do, the skills are required in a lot of organizations. There are a lot of job openings on the skills. So that has to do with what the world needs. So you need to identify, okay, these are what is needed. These are the things that I can this is where I can contribute this, what I'm good at, what I love doing in. So if you identify what you can pay for is a little bit linked to this. You see, it's a Venn diagram. So with this, you can identify your passion, what you enjoy doing, your profession. So an intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, what the needs of the world is, or what the needs of the world are. Then you come and bring all of this together to identify what you should pursue as a profession. And when all of these are aligned, you'd see that you'll be able to lead a happy life, a fulfilled life. And the thing is, you can start somewhere and adapt as time goes on. I hope this video has been helpful. So thank you so much for watching, and you can share this video. I would love you to share. That's why it's a video. People had requested that I explain some things to them, and I felt like it's better if I make a video that can be shared and rewatched. So thanks for watching. Bye. Thank you.